Hello, welcome to this video mini lesson introduction to the Elements of Instructional Leadership project. This project is aligned to the following course objectives. It's aligned to understanding the culture and practices of good schools, and it's about being able to articulate the nature of what curriculum and instruction in such schools looks like. It's also aligned to the goal to understand various ways instructional leadership can be practiced as a principal or educational leader. And also, in all of the projects and assignments for this class, you are expected to demonstrate the professional competencies from the North Carolina Standards for School Executives. You can see the syllabus for that list. This project is worth 200 possible points, which is 20% of your final grade. It is due on the due date listed in your assignment sheet. So this project is really about selecting a topic within the general study of instructional leadership that you really want to do a deep dive into, that you want to look at with the kind of depth and thoroughness that we're not able to do with every element of instructional leadership in our course, because it's only a one semester course and there's so much important stuff to learn about. So you can choose a topic that we specifically cover in this course, such as cultivating teacher leadership, leading change, promoting best practices, supervising educators, providing technology leadership, etc., etc. Or you can, come up with your own topic related to educational leadership to make that a focus of your project, as long as you get my approval on it. Then once you've determined your topic, you're going to conduct research on your selected topic, and then you're going to create a product of your choosing, any type of product you want that shows what you've learned. And you can do this project either independently or with either a partner or a small group. So here are the specific directions that you want to follow. Make sure that you decide on your topic and whether you're going to work independently or with a partner or small group, and then email that information to me by the date listed in your assignment sheet. Then research your topic. You're going to need to draw on at least 5 references from academic sources for your project, and at least 2 of those have to be from peer-reviewed sources. So if you're not familiar with that term, peer-reviewed sources are usually academic journal articles, or though they could be chapter articles in a book, that have been evaluated by other experts in the field. And those experts have essentially validated the trustworthiness and the quality of that article or whatever type of writing it is. Usually it's an article, could be a chapter in a book. And so when you use peer-reviewed sources, you can be more confident that these are very trustworthy, that they contain very sort of important and high quality information. Peer-reviewed sources, though, tend to be sort of more academic and use more sophisticated language and are essentially denser. They're because they're denser and they use more sort of academic or sophisticated language, they're often more difficult to read and to comprehend. So recognize that. Now, these basic numbers here, 5 academic sources, at least 2 of which are peer-reviewed, would be per group member. So if you have 3 members in your group, I'm expecting at least 15 academic sources, at least 6 of which would be peer-reviewed. As you include and cite your sources, you need to do that according to APA style. So APA stands for the American Psychological Association. It's a type of formatting and style that is somewhat similar to and yet different from, say, Chicago style or MLA style. And you might be more familiar with those. In the field of education, we use APA style, and you need to learn that. So you might want to purchase the APA manual, which looks like this, and it's available through pretty much any wholesale bookseller. And it is an expense. However, you're going to use this APA manual throughout your MSA or PMC program, and then if you go on to an EDS or a doctoral degree, you'll need it even more. So if you don't decide to invest in this manual, then you need to find some other quality, reliable resource about appropriate APA style 6th edition. That's the newest edition. And I say this because there are lots of resources about APA on the internet, but a lot of them are misleading or incomplete or just quite frankly don't help you use APA successfully. And there's lots of elements of APA. The ones that I want you to focus on for this project are appropriately citing texts, both sort of within your product itself. So for example, if you're talking about professional learning communities and you're citing some of the research by a person by the name of Horde, you want to cite that as you're talking about it in the product. But then at the end of the product, regardless of what kind of product you do, whether it's an interpretive dance or some sort of musical composition or a traditional paper, regardless, you do want to have listed at the end of it the resources that you've used. So both those what are called in-text citations and references at the end of the product should both be according to APA style. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a substantive product of your choosing, and like I said, feel free to be as creative as possible with these products. But that product needs to do two things. The first thing is that it needs to communicate what educational leaders, whether those are principals, higher education administrators, those who design new schools, etc., need to know about your topic. And if you think about the revised version of Bloom's taxonomy, you'll see that sort of remembering, or what used to be called knowledge, is kind of the base or lowest part of the continuum of sort of sophistication of cognitive thought. So this portion of your paper is really about that remembering level. You're essentially providing knowledge, you're providing content about what educational leaders need to know about your topic. Then in the second part of your product, you're going to be communicating what strong leadership for your topic can look like in your school or organization or another school or organization of your choosing. It can be real or fictional. Essentially, what you want to do is show what strong leadership for your topic can look like in an educational setting. So this is really about applying what you've communicated in this sort of content section. So you're applying what you've said leaders need to know about your topic. And you're creating an example that illustrates that. And you'll see that that applying level, sort of the middle of the revised Bloom's taxonomy, but that creating piece is at the very tippy top. So through this project, you're sort of moving throughout the Bloom's taxonomy and kind of getting more sophisticated in the kind of thinking and communicating that you're doing. So I said here that you want to create a substantive product. Well, what do I mean by substantive product? So if we're thinking in terms of a traditional written product or paper, that would be approximately 7 to 10 pages, excluding references in APA style, if it's written individually. And then it's going to be longer, possibly 10 to 20 pages if it's written with a partner or a small group. So it's really hard to say how that would translate into other non-traditional products, but other non-traditional products are welcome. You just need to make sure that they're suitably substantive. And I recognize that that's kind of amorphous and fuzzy of what substantive looks like. So feel free to seek guidance on this from me related to your particular topic and your particular type of product that you want to create. And recognize that some products, depending on their nature, may need some sort of annotation that explains what the product is demonstrating or showing about the topic. For example, if I were to create and videotape some sort of interpretive dance that communicates key information about professional learning communities, and then I provide an example of an educational setting in which that demonstrates strong leadership for my topic, and I really cannot think of how that would look like in an interpretive dance, but I'm sure that there's a way to do it. It's because I'm not a choreographer or dancer. But anyhow, I might have to have a written annotation or a verbal annotation that says, so, in this part of the dance, I was trying to demonstrate blah, 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 which connects with this research on professional learning communities that says da, 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 da. So in other words, if you don't think that what you're trying to demonstrate in your product will be self-evident to your audience, be sure to spell it out either verbally or in written form and put that along with your product or artifact. So, this sounds complicated, but really I'm trying to give you the freedom to do what makes sense to you and to really capitalize on your strengths. At the same time, I'm trying to give you enough guidance so that you feel like you have a sense of where to go with this. So I'm trying to balance the two. If you do work with a partner group, I'm going to ask you to individually assess the contributions of each team member using this form. So on this form, you would list all of the members of your team or group in this left-hand column. Then you're going to assign points to each based on how you feel they contributed to the final product and to the process as well, really. But this total has to equal to 50. And then in this right-hand column, you're going to describe that person's major contributions to the project. Now, if you have any questions for me about this, just let me know. I am here to help, and I look forward to experiencing your products. Thank you.